Into the ropes and off. A flying tackle by and a drop kick.
10 pounds of pure gold.
Got to hold this just a minute. You want a little bit of
I'm the world heavyweight champion.
Gotta be the best of me. It's more to me than anything I've ever done in wrestling.
They call this the 10 pounds of gold. The championship has existed in its current proper form since 19.
That was pretty hard. And look at Buddy going to work now. Oh.
Hey everybody, it's Durger time, and thank you for joining me once again for another episode of Total Extreme Wrestling 2020. Billy Corgan's NWA. We got some weird news here. Bully Ray won the world television title over in Ring of Honor. That's kind of a weird one, but sure, why not, man? I think he's the booker too, so that's kind of messed up, but whatever. What we have for us today is a regular old show of power. Again, we were talking about changing the format and bring it down to 1 hour. We're going to do that in just 7 days. After Into the Fire, we're going to do I think we're going to do a live stream where we kind of do another backstage episode after the fact, and we fix up the roster. We see who we need to get rid of, maybe some people we need to hire. We look at our financials, we set up the events and stuff like that. It's just a fun way to kind of hang out for a little bit, so keep an eye out for that if you're interested. I'll probably make a notice of when that's airing when I decide when it airs, probably in the Discord. So if you're not in the Discord, click the link in the description. There is a link in there that should not expire. If it did for some reason, let me know in the comments and I'll hook you up with a new one. But we have a Discord for the channel, usually great way to discuss anything wrestling or anything else related, really. Always like to see some new faces in there, so please join if you want to. And usually you get a little bit of heads up on some upcoming events or sequences of things that we're doing and some ideas that get passed along. A lot of creative booking decisions happen on there. So welcome you all to join up in there. It's a lot of fun. Now, we lost some money. Certainly lost some money last month. We're on the course to lose some money again. So something we're going to have to look at is our financial situation. And we're in a situation where we paid probably, I did it with my heart and my gut and not with my brain, but I think we overpaid for Brian Pillman. But it just didn't feel right to have him disappear, and we might pay for it financially. So we'll have to take a look at it, and we'll have to figure out whether it's worth it, and even if it's maybe at a certain point we just take the loss and let him go at some point. I don't know. Because I don't know if it's worth the 11 grand, especially if we're going to go into a financial hole from it. We'll see. We'll see where we shake up after Into the Fire. We do have some storylines leading up Into the Fire. It should be pretty interesting. But one of the things we got to do first is we got to deal with the quarterfinals of the Circle Square tournament. Remember, the winner of this gets a contract. And the fun part about this is that I've not been deciding anything about this. We've just been letting weird random stipulations decide, and we have to figure out a new random stipulation for this quarterfinals. We'll do one for that. We'll do one for the semifinals, and then for the final, it might be my decision. So, that'll be interesting. Or we might have a vote. Maybe we'll have a vote. I don't know yet, but basically we kind of just let randomness decide who has been winning in this tournament. So it's going to give us a hire that is very interesting and unique. But we have to figure out a new stipulation for this month, or for this tournament cycle. So I have my wheel for us here. We have a bunch of different options on here that will allow us to make a random decision based on a different stat or something else. So we have star quality. Whoever the younger wrestler wins, whoever's the most respected, whoever's the most popular. My choice this entire round would be, if I won that, would be my decision. Most hardcore stat, most pure resume, most sex appeal, most resilience, and most psych. So, an interesting branch of items, and whatever this lands on will be how we determine the next set of winners for the quarterfinals. Well, let's spin it. Ooh, I was hoping for Durger's choice, but hardcore is more interesting too. So whoever has the most hardcore stat within the tournament will be the winner in each round. So, not someone that is in here, but like if Ace Austin, so we have scouting levels, right? So someone asked me before how we figured this out, but because we do have scouting levels, we don't know the exact amount. We just add these together, divide them in half, and whoever has the bigger one wins, basically. So that's going to make things interesting because we don't know where these guys fit in on this. Does King Mo have a higher hardcore stat than Jervis? Who knows? We'll find out. Maybe Jervis is the most hardcore of them all. We just haven't seen it yet. But we got an interesting lineup of people. We got Tetsuya Endo, Effie, King Mo, Jervis, Cottonbelly. Though actually it should be Gentleman Jervis now, but that's fine. Chris Brooks, Thief Ant, Zachary Wentz, and Chris Bay. Kind of a real random grab bag of people. Big favorites right now is Chris Bay. I know a lot of people are rooting for him. Probably a little bit of, I think most energy is on Chris Bay right now. So we'll have to see how that shakes up. I don't know who has the higher hardcore stat between the two of them. I think both of them wrestled in CZW for a bit, right? So theoretically, they both have some element of that. We'll have to see where the higher one is. I'm kind of curious about that. All right. Let's get on with the show. Let's move on over to Power. We got another 4 days, and then the next episode we'll have Into the Fire. All right, we are ready for a show. Let us take a look at where we're gonna be. We've got 500 fans now, expected. We're moving up in the world a little bit, actually, so much so that they took us out of the Full Sail University and put us somewhere else, but we're still going to go into the arena. That's good. That's our place. We got 850 people for capacity, so that's our venue, and that's the one we want. Last show we had 550, so I think, and we were expecting 498, so we're really moving up here. I'm contemplating in the future if we want to, and we might talk about this on the live stream, whether we might want to set, for example, the cost of the tickets for the events. We can't look at it now, to lower, to just fill that capacity, just have as many eyes in there for ticket sales as possible, because the ticket sales aren't really that much in terms of our revenue. It might be better just to move as many people into the arena to just have eyes on it as we can. Definitely an option. Now, I believe there is a backstage incident. Just another protege work. Man, I keep on forgetting Josh Woods is on our roster. I should just get rid of him. And the dude doesn't seem to be mad. Not that's cooled momentum, but he seems like he's fine. Like, he doesn't care. Doesn't seem to have any care in the world that he's not been on the show for like 30 years. I don't understand it. It's a handshake deal for 80. What's the contract? Whatever we needed. I mean, we're not losing money, and that's what's great about the new system in 2020 is that there's, because of the they're not as aggressive about the guaranteed downsides. We're really not losing any money. We're just saying, hey, you're on the show. If you want a spot, we might call you. So maybe, it's not that bad, but it's just so weird that I keep on forgetting that we even have him. Maybe we'll use him tonight and just give him some opportunity. Nobody missing. So, pretty good. Last episode we had a bit of a problem where Eddie Kingston was not supposed to win, but did. And we got to kind of call an audible here, figure out what we're going to do with it. And I think we'll decide that tonight. And yeah, that's a bit of a problem, but we'll figure that out, because I didn't want him originally to win, because I kind of wanted somebody else. I wanted that victim complex to continue to fester as part of his character of getting kind of screwed over a little bit and having to deal with that, versus having to face Kingston, or having Kingston face Pillman at Into the Fire seemed a little messed up, but we'll see. In addition to that, obviously the Von Erichs broke up with the dad, Kevin, which we gotta remember who did not work well with him. I think was it Dax or Cash? I can't remember now. I think Cash was not managed well by him. We'll find out in the next episode. So we'll put one of them off of there, but have the other managed by him. And we'll figure out what it is probably this episode. Not a big deal. But Kevin Von Erich now working with FTR. The Von Erich brothers back to faces, having to deal with their dad betraying them. Ace Austin issuing a challenge. Loser leaves NWA for Into the Fire to the New Shield. Kimberly continuing her open challenge. A lot of stuff going on, and obviously Aldis and Pentagon driving up. Those are kind of our main factors going into the Fire, and from there, after that, we will have, our sort of not necessarily a reset, but some new storylines that we're gonna have to dive into after the fact. All right, let's book it. Let's figure out what we're gonna do and see how we can salvage this Eddie Kingston flub, and we'll figure it out here, and we'll catch you guys in a second. Alright guys, we got 124 minutes in the bag. Kind of a weird show. A lot happening and not a lot at the same time. We just kind of finish off the loose ends as we get into a go-home show. It's kind of a weird one. It doesn't really feel that much like a go-home show to me. But, we got a weird situation with a lot of the hires going away and a lot of weird loose ends we kind of have to fill in. But we get there. We get to where I think we're building to, more or less. I don't know. We'll see. But we got a show, so let's go ahead and let's book it. See what we got. So pre-show, we have Chris Brooks versus Thief Ant. Remember, hardcore skill is what we're looking at. We have not two pre-shows, but we have two tournament matches. One of the matches is on the open of the card. And Chris Brooks has significantly higher hardcore skill. Thief Ant basically had 0. I think he had like 0 to 20. So we had like an average of 10. So Chris Brooks does move on after a Yakuza kick. Moves on in the Circle Square tournament. Not bad score-wise either, 45. Gets us a pre-show segment of 43. It was a work-to-crowd match, which did not happen. The crowd does not look like they got hyped, unfortunately. But hopefully we get them built up by the main event, which is, I think, like a wild brawl. So we kind of want a little bit of build there. We started the show proper with another one of the Circle Square tournament. Zachary Wentz and Chris Bay, and a surprising upset here. Wentz did have the higher technical by about 12 points. Or not technical, hardcore. So Wentz does move on and defeats Chris Bay. Kind of a shame, because Bay, I think, was probably one of the favorites from the audience. But that is just how it swings, right? Wentz is getting better as gimmick. Wentz had a 43, Bay had a 42, both of them about evenly matched. I think we also, one of the things we have to do when we get into the database is, you guys will know, let me know in the comments. I believe Wentz is engaged or married to Kimberly, so I don't think a relationship was set up in the save. Might be something we have to fix when we do our sort of backstage post Into the Fire episode. Let me know if I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure I am right. After that, we got Tessa Blanchard, who's leaving us in 4 days, having an exhibition match against Thunder Rosa, who we allow to absolutely dominate Tessa. Trying to build her momentum up as much as we can. I think Thunder Rosa needs to be one of the ones adjusted on our on our backstage episode, as we're talking a lot about that today. But I think she's one of the ones that might have an imbalance in terms of her actual skill versus and maybe even actual popularity versus how the save views her. One of the things that, obviously becomes problematic in mods is that some people don't know wrestlers as well, underrate them for sometimes gameplay mechanics reasons of like where they are. And I think she probably deserves a little bit more than the 39 she's getting. Well, maybe not by that much. We'll look at it. But she does defeat Tessa Blanchard. We're trying to build up a little bit more momentum for her as Tessa is leaving us to AEW. And Thunder is staying around, so we will give her the win. Tessa is very upset about this match, but her feelings on it do not matter to us because she's leaving in like 4 days. So they had great chemistry though, which is a shame, that she'll be leaving us for us. But oh well. This angle is in the wrong spot, but let's deal with it as we must, and we'll get back to the next thing. There was a promo from Thunder Rosa. It can go afterwards, but it was supposed to be right after the match. Not a big deal. Danhausen is seen in the boardroom on a conference call. Obviously, there's currently no authority figures in the NWA, and he's trying to convince them to give him another shot, saying how much money he brought in, and he's got great ideas, and give him another shot. He didn't know that the Shield was copyright written. And they're basically like, well, how could you not? He goes, I don't watch the product. I don't know. And he's trying to convince them that he needs a redemption. And they tell him basically, sure, we'll give you a chance, but you got to work for it. And Danhausen's like, well, how about this? Battle Royal for the GM spot and Into the Fire. And they reluctantly accept the idea. So there will be a random battle royal in the beginning of Into the Fire, and the winner of it will become the new general manager of the NWA. Only in a wrestling promotion could such an agreement occur, and Danhausen carnies his way into the carniest of spots. So he's hoping that basically he will win the battle royal and have an opportunity to become general manager. Crowd actually got hotter from this angle. It does a 45, not too bad. After the fact, we have the Von Erichs and Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson. They are backstage and they are, being interviewed, and they're just still shocked by their father's betrayal. And they're basically saying, we don't know how it's going to happen. We thought, blood is thicker than water type situation, that blah, 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 blah. Then the Rock and Roll Express come by. And in a sort of a face versus face thing, they say that, don't look up, crazy things happen in this business, but, you always have to keep your head on straight. Listen, we see some old school potential in you. He's like, why don't we, he's like, actually, I don't think we've ever actually wrestled together. Well, why don't we have a friendly challenge, a friendly competition? And the Von Erichs accept to have a match with them tonight. Just going to give them kind of a win, a little bit of a rub from the Rock and Roll Express. The segment's pretty poor, though, overall. Though it did get the crowd hotter, which is odd. And now that Thunder Rosa segment is. So, Thunder Rosa, I guess now in an interview, was originally supposed to be post-match, but grabs a microphone, calls out Kimberly, and says, so you're some little girl playing tough in the NWA with the title. There's only one true contender for the women's championship. You can call all the open challenges if you want. All the feeders in the world can't save you for when Thunder Rosa finally comes for you. Enjoy your run while it lasts. So, seems like, it's interesting that she feels this way, but hasn't actually been answering the open challenges. So it's unsure if she's actually going to enter the next open challenge. and maybe she's just kind of preparing her, or whether, she's got other motives or things in between. In reality, we just need to build her up more and give her some more time. And this segment's proof of that. It is very very poor mic work. So, we need to kind of develop her in some capacity, whether it's backstage and tweaking her settings and figuring out where she'd actually should sit in terms of stats, or just trying to keep feeding people to her and building her up for an inevitable clash. Speaking of inevitable clashes and a much better segment rating, Kingston also entering and actually storming out of the boardroom, having gotten worse news than what Danhausen got. And an interviewer tries to catch up with him and figure out what the hell happens. Kingston basically pushes him into a wall and snarls at him. He's like, "Oh, you want to know? You want to know what's going on?" Well, apparently, because Pillman stuck his head into the match, the powers to be again conveniently conspire against me. Again, try to screw me out of what is rightfully mine. And they say the match is sullied, whatever the hell that means. It's expunged. So it's gone. Zip. Just disappears. So now we gotta redo it. And it's gotta be an elimination match to be clean. So not only did I have to win once, I gotta win now 3 times just for a legitimate opportunity on the card. This is the type of carny bullshit that makes me sick, but whatever. I do what I do. I fight, so let's fight. Again, Kingston still has the Founders Championship. He just wants a legitimate fight. It's to the point where, if you think about, what the hell does he want? He wants his name on the marquee. That's what he's fighting for. He knows he can have a shot anytime, but this chip on his shoulder is no, I want to be in the main event. I don't want to sneak into it. I want the title. I know I'm going to beat you, but I want the main event spot. I want my name on the card. And, he's starting to get more and more agitated, more and more feeling like things are conspiring against him, right? So, kind of leading to a crescendo moment here in the main event tonight. After that, we got Pentagon Dark versus Josh Woods, because I remembered that Josh Woods was on the show. Unfortunately, he did not click at all with this, but he is just a feeder for Pentagon, who defeats him in 8 minutes by pinfall. Using a Styles Clash. Sure, Pentagon, go. You do you, I guess. Pentagon had 56. Josh Woods had 39. It leads us to a 45. After the fact, Josh Woods gets into the center of the ring injured, and Pentagon pops his arm and breaks it, throwing back to an old school, darker Pentagon. And, obviously it's a call out towards Nick Aldis, so he's off screen. It didn't really, Nick Aldis is not involved, but, what it's involved with, and it definitely seems like a message to him that he can hurt people, he will end him. Josh Woods, who was just selling in this segment, that's all, did poorly. Because did not sell his fake injury very well. But we do advance our storyline about religious Darwinism, and Pentagon did look very good in it. We got the Von Erichs versus Rock and Roll Express, which is a fine match. Von Erichs have 45, Rock and Roll have about 28 to 30 respectively. It's not much to say about it. It's okay, but Von Erichs defeat Rock and Roll Express. We just give them kind of a Legends rub to come back from that FTR match, give them something to do, kind of build them up a little bit more, and show that they can win legitimately. They defeated quote-unquote legends. So, that's unfair. I shouldn't say quote-unquote legends. Rock and Roll Express are legends, but, I wouldn't say that they're peak performers and peak challenges for Von Erichs. But the idea is that, they're surpassing the older legends and win on their own without their dad, showing some legitimacy to them. And that's kind of the point of this match here. After that, we got kind of a weird one. AR Fox, who's also leaving us, wants to have a match tonight. Says, it doesn't matter that he's not working here anymore. He's going to bigger, better places. He's kind of sullying the NWA, healing it up a little bit. But he says he's still the NWA Alliance champion. And he wants a match tonight because he can. And then Ryback comes out and challenges him. So just giving Ryback something to do. What we're really doing here is that there's a weird sort of glitch. We might have to do it again, but for some reason, when he got signed to NWA, so we did give us like a week or something like that, or 2 or like 3 weeks or something. I forget what the number is. It vacated the title for him. I think it's because he basically left the contract to enter a new contract. So it's like a weird glitch. So what we really are trying to do is just before he leaves, and I think this will work. We're going to, because the title's vacated, we're going to have this be a match for a win for him, so that he can go to AEW with the championship for the Alliance. And then we should be able to kind of basically call him in whenever we want for as many times as we want. So we kind of get to keep him for as long as we want to until we want to, give it to somebody else, which might be an AEW guy, or, he might defend it over in AEW and, give it to somebody else. So we just kind of want to make sure the Alliance title leaves with him, which is kind of weird. You normally would think you would want a title to vacate before someone leaves, but in this situation we want to make sure it stays on him, so that it leaves with him to AEW, which is part of our Alliance. And the match is pretty okay. AR Fox is 69, Ryback at a 50, and AR Fox technically wins, but it's actually a retaining of the Alliance National Heavyweight title. They have great chemistry. That's interesting to know. I don't think we ever put them together. Match got them buzzing, which is a little unfortunate because I think the next match is a little bit of a heater brawl. So we might get a weaker main event from this. But AR Fox wins and theoretically should take the Alliance title with him to AEW next week. Actually, we have this match left, so this is fine. Kimberly, again with her open challenge, this time faces Taya Conti, who is not signed on AEW in this save, because this database dates way back at this point to when TEW 2020 first came out, which I don't think she was officially signed yet. So it's a decent reaction from the crowd. Subpar wrestling though. Taya Conti had a 25, which is very poor. I think the women's performances in general in this mod need heavy work. I don't know. I know a different mod maker has transitioned over, so I don't know if in the more updated Real World Chronicles, if they've ever gone through those. But I think it's one of the facets of the wrestling booking scene that needs a little bit more work, because I think the performances of pretty much every woman is either in a save way overskilled for what their actual level is, or way underskilled. And I think in this situation she might be way underskilled, but not by much, but enough. Kimberly had an in-ring of 49. Taya had a 25. It had a decent reaction, but had subpar wrestling. Kimberly retains the women's title and continues with her open challenges, seemingly unfazed by Thunder Rosa's comments earlier in the night. Inevitable clash eventually, but Kimberly still continues her open challenges to be a fighting champion. And in our main event, we got Eddie Kingston versus Miro versus Eli Drake in an elimination match. It went on too long, which, probably makes sense. Got a 57, which is not too bad. It's an elimination match. Eli Drake defeated. I wish I could have changed the order of eliminations, but there's actually no way to do that. Because really it should have been him last in terms of story and heat. But Eli Drake wins this match. and Eddie and Miro lose. So in the main event of Into the Fire, we have Eli Drake going against Brian Pillman. Eli Drake was actually the weak link of the bunch, struggling to keep up with everyone else's in-ring performance, who had a 57, Miro had a 69, Kingston had a 67. Yeah, so it's kind of an interesting breakdown for their performances, which I would not expect. But Kingston does not get the name in the marquee. This is how it was supposed to go. Eli Drake will go to face Pillman Jr. in the main event. But Kingston still has his title, still can cash in if he needs to. And let's be honest, he will. But he didn't get what he wanted, which was that respect, that name on the card. And that sort of resentment is still going to continue to fester in him. It's weird. Someone had mentioned that he's almost got like this stone cold thing, because he's a heel. Like, he's a heel in our save. He's not a good guy. But you kind of want to root for him. Because like you feel like you believe in him. And that's kind of what we're going for. Like, he would be kind of a tweener if they existed. Like, he's a heel in his actions, but he's motivated by something you kind of respect. And that's kind of the line we're going for in his storyline. So if you guys are resonating with that, that is sort of the intended goal in how he feels. He is supposed to feel like an anti-hero in some capacity. And potentially in the future, that will be ramped up more. Because it's definitely starting to turn into the Eddie Kingston show for a bit, which, I don't know, for me, is no big deal. I like it. Segment gets us a 57 to finish the show. I think this is going to be a weaker show than normal. But, by the way, we had 546 people at the show this week. 57, actually, it's not that bad. I think overall the weaker parts of it were at the bottom of the card, which kind of helped us. Even though it could have been a little bit higher, I don't think we hit all regions, but that isn't too bad. I really thought it was going to be a lot worse. So, cool. All right, let's see how it went down. Seems like it was excellent. So, very good for us. Pretty happy with that. Speaking of which, it looks like as AEW continues to expand, they've now locked in Jonathan Gresham out of their Ring of Honor contract. Man, AEW is getting dangerous with their hires. I kind of want to see where else they've hired people. Worker signings with AEW, because we've only seen what affected us, but I haven't seen. So Holiday, which we know that because they took us. Natty, Hammerstone's going to AEW for an exclusive. Dragunov, Crazy Mary, they stole from us. AR Fox, they stole from us. Sheamus, they stole from us. Fatu, they stole from us. Filthy Tom Lawler going to AEW. Tessa, they stole from us. That was a one-night deal. Definitely a bizarre. I forgot that we had them for an alliance line at one point. Real bizarre hirings, but they're definitely expanding outwards and unfortunately becoming a bit of a problem with us. It's nice that we're in an alliance with them, but at the same time, they're kind of becoming a thorn in our side, which is unfortunate. But, it is what it is. We are still losing money. Every show, it seems, just a little bit. Hopefully that sponsorship money comes in and negates that, but we're definitely going to have something we're going to have to look at is our cost issue and see where we're going, because we do have a nice cushion from that initial $1 million, but it's slowly dwindling away. It's going to be something we're going to have to worry about going forward. All right, guys, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time for Into the Fire.